and happy to have Kim Harris as our presenter today. Kim's been joining us as a participant this year and has pulled something together that she's going to share. And so we'll turn it over to Kim. And as always, if you've got questions along the way, throw them in the chat and then we'll hit those as we go. And also throw in your LinkedIn profile into the chat. There we go. Mark's ahead of us. All right, Kim, the floor is yours.
Can you see this all right?
Yes.
Okay. It looks different than it did a little earlier. Well, this is a little bit of a controversial subject among SEOs, but I've watched the industry since 92 or 93. I remember exactly who showed me my first website and where we were and what it was. Nothing but a list of German beer labels in JPEGs, basically. But I'm kind of coining this new term, entity engineering, because it's not SEO. Sorry, dog. It's it underpins SEO, and it's been here for a long time, but nobody talks about it very much. And basically, half the industry thinks it doesn't matter. But hopefully, I'll convince you that it does in the course of my talk. And I've got a lot of information here, so if we don't get through it all, I'm happy to talk offline. I could talk about this stuff all day. Let's see, now how do I advance my screen? There we go. Just an example, I did this for someone back in 2024. I'm not going to give you the site, but this is her recent Google Search Console data. And I migrated her site from Weebly to Wix and built all of the things I'm going to talk about today under the site. So all the schema markup, FAQ schema, which Google says they've deprecated, but it's still in Google Search Console, and it populates what used to be called People Also Ask. And a lot of those questions end up being answers to LLM queries. And there's a little bit of a dip over here. That's because there is a bug in Google's system. This guy, whoops, sorry, where they're having a logging problem. But this is also a seasonal issue with her traffic. But anyway, so this works for me. Your mileage may vary. Every website is different. Every business is different. Google treats most of them differently as well. And as far as LLMs go, kind of all bets are off. But these are some things that you can do to try to get seen, try to disambiguate who you are. The landscape has shifted, but approximately 90% of LLM optimization, no matter what acronym you choose to apply to it, is standard SEO. This is obviously an estimate. It's a couple of people that have been in the business for quite a while, pretty well known, Gianluca Fiorelli and Amanda King, as well as Lazarina Stoy. And you can find their information at these websites below. Approximately 50% of web content now is AI generated. And since AI generation, I mean, it's the Ouroboros, right? It's the snake eating its tail. And everything's kind of going to average. And each query to an LLM gives you about 1 to 12 queries per prompt via what people call query fan out. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So keywords are surface level proxies. Entities are the semantic layer that search engines and LLMs operate on through retrieval augmented generation. So it's how they ground their information in facts. AI overviews and LLMs have basically stolen clicks from websites. This is recent data from Ahrefs about how click-through rate of informational keywords, so long tail, typically has really decreased from December of 23 through December of 2025. And the average number one click-through rate for AI overview keywords has dropped even more. What entity engineering is not, it's not SEO. It optimizes for keywords, SEO optimizes for keywords and page rankings. Entity engineering operates on the layer below that, the semantic layer where the system decides what something is before it decides where to rank it. I call it engineering because there's a recipe. There's no guessing. You need to establish a persistent identifier, and there are several on the web. Wikidata and ORCID are two. You need to deploy schema.org microdata in the form of JSON-LD with same as declarations across all your owned properties. You need to enforce a consistent name, address, and phone number string everywhere. Your website, major directories, Google Business Profile, Apple Maps, which people have been, they give it short shrift, but they are really gaining users basically because most Apple or most iPhone users are using Apple Maps, and they have just introduced Apple Business Profile, Apple Business Connect. They change it every couple months or so. You need to build disambiguating attribute clusters. So field credentials, your affiliations. You need to cross-link authoritative profiles so every source confirms the same node. They can confirm the same identity. And then you need to reinforce those through third-party mentions using entity-consistent language. Basically, that means that mentions are the new backlinks. So this all revolves around Google's knowledge graph, which they announced in 2012. And a knowledge graph is a structured entity or structured map of entities and the relationships between them. Search engines and LLMs use it to understand who you are, what you do, and how to connect you with other known entities. So I'm using myself as a kind of an extreme case, not to brag or anything, but I'm using myself because I recently changed my last name. And I went through all of this to try to make sure that Google understood who I was. So it's a good example. And I was very fortunate that I made the decision a long time ago to lay a paper trail. I had published or was on a paper that was published from work that I had done while a high school student. All I did was count corn plants in a row, how many were dead that week. So it wasn't that big a deal, but it was still a publication, right? And I was K.R. Harris. I think I published a few things in conferences when I was a grad student. Then I published my thesis and I hyphenated my name. Then after that, I used my married name. So now Google is wondering, who the heck is this person? And if I hadn't done all that previously, it might not have been a great idea to change my last name back. But because there are a lot more Kim Harrises on the web than there are Kim Coolmans. Even Dr. Kim R. Harrises. There are several of those out there as well. So this is my attempt to disambiguate myself from all of the others while changing my name. A knowledge graph is, let's see, this is me. The number underneath is my Wikidata number, identification number. Think of it like a social security number, except it's public. Not that ours aren't, but, and this was my last name previously. I don't know why. In fact, I do know why. This is the way it is. I actually used Plod to help me build this. And I told it my Wikidata ID number and it pulled information, and that's what it pulled. So I got a lot of work to do. Anyway, back in December or so, I added a book chapter, actually two book chapters that I had written in the past. I added the books, and then the book chapters each got these numbers in Wikidata. I am an alumni of UW-Madison. That's where I got my PhD thesis published. And it's online there. There's a URL, but Wikidata has actually booted that out of my knowledge graph. So I've got to go back in and put it in. Wikidata is not as, I'm not going to say policed because bots are policing it, but it's not as strict as Wikipedia editors are in booting people out. I mean, one of the main reporters on SEO for 20 years is Barry Schwartz, and he recently lost his Wikipedia page because he wasn't notable enough. I don't know anybody in the field who's more notable than Barry Schwartz. And he's got a real disambiguation problem himself because it's a pretty common name. Let's see. So I worked at JPL. I was on the Genesis mission science team for a while. My thesis work was in space weathering, and Wikidata actually has the Chinese language in the node for space weathering, which has this number. And I also worked at the Planetary Science Institute. Now, if you branch these out, the book chapter has everybody, I added everybody who was an author. So those people are connected to me through that book chapter. Everybody that's ever worked for the Planetary Science Institute is also connected to me through that. So you see the web that's forming, and that's basically what the web is. It's a huge knowledge graph, and that's why Google has gone that direction in mapping it, in knowing who and what people are, things are, and the relationships between them. So an entity is a distinct, verifiable individual, organization, place, or concept. It's a noun with consistent attributes that authoritative sources agree on. I'm a person, I'm a US citizen, that kind of thing. I'm an alumni of, my organization is, I'm affiliated with, I have publications, I was on these missions, I've published in these research domains, these book chapters, and my scholarly identity, I have an ORCID profile. If you're on Google Scholar, you can also have a profile there. Different industries have different, well, ResearchGate is another one. So different industries have different, basically directories, but they're not really directories like we think of the yellow pages, or say a bar. The Bar Association has its list of members. But those are also sources of trusted information for Google. They're knowledge graphs of a sort. So my name changed, my Wikidata number did not. Entity engineering helps me bridge the gap so the knowledge graph doesn't lose me. Now, the fact that I'm not in the knowledge graph doesn't help. But this is how I'm trying to get into the knowledge graph. And once I'm in Google's knowledge graph, that's when you get the knowledge panel that shows up for people on the right side of Google search results. What happens if you don't have an entity connected to your website, or you haven't engineered your entity? Last December, Ashley McIsaac, who's a Juno Award-winning fiddler in Nova Scotia, lost a gig, a concert at one of the First Nations tribes. I'm not even going to try to butcher that, because one of the board members asked Google about him, and the AAO came back and said he was a sex offender. Ashley's now consulting lawyers, but he had an entity failure. He has a website. He's got a very long-standing Wikipedia page. He was in the knowledge graph before Google gave it to Wikidata. Google actually bought a knowledge graph called Freebase back in the day. His website was on Weebly, but it was out of date, and there's absolutely no markup connecting his website to all of his entities elsewhere on the web. So without proper entity engineering, the system hybridized him with someone else with a similar name and got the wrong information. This is what disambiguation prevents. Now, was that really why it hybridized him? I think it's a very good indication of why it hybridized him with someone else. I can't prove it because I can't see into Google's black box, but that's something that he could do to try to prevent what happened. Entity engineering, I'll just breeze through this one. You need consistency, verifiability, trust is huge. Disambiguation, attribute clusters give you a fingerprint that's different from everybody else, and authority. So multiple independent sources. If you have a publication in a magazine or mentioned in a newspaper article or on a blog or in a YouTube video, Google translates or transcribes the conversation. They mine that for additional information that they can match up with the knowledge graph. All of those things matter. Mentions are the new backlink, essentially. The Paris test, this is just an example. If a page mentions Paris 120 times, keyword density, but it never mentions the Louvre, the Eiffel Tower, or the Seine. There are no related entities or landmarks. Keyword stuffing, which mentioning Paris 120 times is. Zero topical depth. No human would trust this, neither does Google. But if you address all of those issues with high entity coverage, both humans and machines will trust it. With LLMs, we have what people are calling query fan out. And this is how LLMs try to decide who appears in the answer. You put in a user prompt. This is one of Gianluca Fiorelli's examples. Best paint for Warhammer minis. He actually used this in a YouTube podcast. The LLM will decompose that into 3 to 12 subqueries. So think questions. Each subquery will be processed in parallel and hits the index independently. Some will go to the image index, some will go to YouTube's index, things like that. And then it'll bring the entities that it finds back together to synthesize that final answer. So the fan out in action, this is basically just what I talked about with best running shoes. So I will skip through that because I know I'm going to go long. Entity engineering drives LLM visibility because you get entity resolution across subqueries. The fan out generates, all these subqueries, and theoretically it finds the same entity in all of those subqueries. Schema, same as markup, helps to collapse the signal. Same as is extremely important. It's how you tell Google that this LinkedIn profile, this Wikipedia page, this YouTube channel are connected to your website, and how your website is connected to Wikidata. That sometimes, I don't know how often Google checks Wikidata's knowledge graph, but they do. And eventually they will pick it up if you have a rich enough entity in Wikidata that you're notable enough to put into the knowledge graph. Disambiguation prevents dilution, which is what happened to Ashley McIsaac. And training data. Training data presence gives you fan out eligibility. Training data is always delayed. We're seeing models today that were trained on a training set from 6 months to a year ago. And if you're in the training data, you then can have a better chance of querying or being in the query decomposition. If the wrong information gets into the training data, it's extremely difficult to undo. You want to do everything you can to make sure that something, say, that dings your reputation does not get into that training data. In fact, that's how black hats can now attack websites and businesses, by putting that or trying to get that data into the training set. And once it's in there, it's extremely difficult to get out. Google won't give you the time of day. So the entity engineering stack, there are 4 levels. First, you've got to exist, which is level 1. So you can claim your Wikidata item. Do not spam it. If you can't get a Wikidata item, if they boot you out for not being notable enough, you can control the schema.org markup on your site. That is the one thing that you absolutely can do. And the recipe is at schema.org. And that same as tag is, like I said, very, very important for connecting all of these items. For academics, you can go to ORCID. For industry directories, say the bar journal or the bar associations, CPAs, that's a credential, things like that. Level 2 is building out your entity attributes. You want to have your name, address, and phone number consistent everywhere, and you can control that. Your Google business profile, if you ever change that, make sure you change everything else first, your name, address, and phone number on all the other directories first, and there are ways to do that. You can get your Wikipedia page if you're notable enough, but it's extremely difficult. Make sure you same as schema to your social profiles, and structured data on all your pages. Use your owned property efficiently, and you'll prevent a lot of problems. Remember that you don't own any of your social profiles. Level 3 is building those relationships. So authoritative backlinks have been, the stock and trade of SEOs for 2 decades. But now bylined content on third-party sites that used to be guest blogging with a backlink, now just the mention and the byline are enough. To get mentioned in a podcast or a video, like today, I'm going to now have a link from Midday Connect to my name through this. Well, actually, if I say Coleman too many times, that may screw it up, but theoretically, this will help my trust factor. And level 4 is content authority. That's where quality content comes back in, quality writing, and trying to work those natural semantic triples. So noun, predicate, object, or subject, predicate, object. Those are the building blocks, the unit cell of the knowledge graph. And you can build those into your content. Don't overdo it, because then it starts to get very stiff, and it's not friendly for people to read. Still write for people. Still write for humans. Don't write for machines. The schema.org or the schema that you put onto your website is for the machines. And there's another good reason to do this. I talk about it in the first chapter of the the book that I'm working on this. It's very cheap for Google and the others to parse structured data, which is what schema.org markup is. For the LLMs to have to go through your entire web page and pull out all of those entities is very computationally expensive. And if they don't have to do it, they are going to be very happy. So help Google help you by putting that schema markup in. Make sure that it's trustworthy, because if it's not, Google will ding you. They will not be happy if they have to go back through your content and build all of these semantic triples from scratch.
Kim, I'm going to jump in there so we can get our Q&A going.
Yep.
This has been
Sorry.
awesome. No, you're great. I feel like
These I'll send
I
me an
should have
email.
taken
I'll
the
give you
intro.
these.
Yeah, I should have taken the dummy course before I came into today's Midday Connect so that I
I'm
could.
sorry.
No, this is awesome. So let's go to some Q&A. I had a question just out of the
Please.
gate. I mean, if someone doesn't, if they haven't authored any papers or book chapters, they're light on number of missions they've been on. Uh, where does someone, I mean, you've mentioned a few things, right? Like just start writing. That's
Yeah.
great. What are some other things that people could do today?
Well, good old public relations. If you, for example, I'm also a photographer. I got bronze status in competition with Professional Photographers of America a few years ago. I wrote a press release and I sent it personally to all of the local press here in Utah. One picked it up, came and watched a session, interviewed me, interviewed my direct competitor, and then wrote an article. And I think it was City Weekly. That's a mention.
Mhm.
I don't remember if he gave me a backlink, but that's the kind of, that's the table stakes that we've SEOs have been doing for a long time. Well, the ones that want to do the work. There's no shortcut to that kind of thing. If you can write an article for a trade journal, that's great. Something else that probably slips a lot of people's minds is if you're in a position to sponsor a high school sports team, ask them for a backlink, or at least get your logo and your name on their website. That most of them are very happy to do that for you in exchange for the money. There are a lot of different ways that you can do things like that. And LLMs are a great source to ask.
So today, later today, Hannah will take this recording and it'll be on YouTube. What are the next two or three steps then that you do?
That I do with this.
Yeah.
Um,
With that link now onto a YouTube video that's got your name
well,
and content in there.
this is mostly a case of do as I say and not as I do, because it's much easier to work on someone else's stuff than it is on your own. On quantumquilldigital.com, which don't look, it has nothing basically there except a couple of links. I would put in on my bio page, or about page, a same as microdata, the JSON LD in the code pointing to that YouTube video.
Okay. Awesome. Other questions, if you've got them, throw them in the chat or you can just come off mute.
The other thing I could do is write a blog post about doing this today and backlink to you guys, and also backlink to the YouTube video.
So that leads me to a question because before people got on, you were talking about the heavy AI usage in the background. You would write it yourself, or you wouldn't have one of your agents write your LinkedIn post?
I collaborate with them.
Oh, good. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, I try to go through and edit every character. We used to say in photography that we paint every pixel. to do it right,
I like
instead
that.
of applying a Photoshop filter or something to an image. But yeah, I try to check every character. Obviously, something got through, but yeah. So any mistakes in this are mine, not the LLMs.
So I'll be quiet for a moment so someone can come off mute and ask a question of Kim.
So, just a quick question. What do you mean by backlink? Is it something that, let's say, for example, you have this YouTube video and you create a post and in that you add that link so that it can be a post on the LinkedIn or it can be an article on the blog post, something like that?
Yes, if I write a blog post about giving this talk, which I probably won't, because I don't have the time, I would link out to it so people can go watch it. I might even take the transcript from YouTube and have an LLM rewrite it, and make that a blog post on my website with the link back to the video. But I'd also put in a save as or same as in the code, in the HTML code, that points to the video saying same as, you know, my
Okay.
name or my wiki,
Yeah.
whichever that entity, my entity is linking back to, or is linking out to that YouTube video. But theoretically, Google is, they're transcribing those YouTube videos, and they can pull out the entities from that conversation. It would be nice if Midday Connect put a link to my YouTube or to my website in the description of the YouTube video. I mean, there's a million and one ways to connect things.
So that would help you. Okay. Well, I mean, that's not hard for us to help our community.
And everybody should be, if you're on anything like this, you should do the same thing. You should ask for the backlink, ask for the link in the YouTube description, and try to do some of that linking yourself under the hood.
Quick question, Spencer.
Go for it. We're going to give you the last question, Joel.
Okay. As you wrote the book on it, Kim, what are the odds of us ever harvesting helium from the moon's surface?
Ask the politicians.
Great job, kiddo.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, everyone. If you'd like to present and you've got something for our audience, so our audience, if you didn't know, we've got founders, prospective founders, we've got capital partners on, we've got service providers, but everyone here has an affinity for startups and building things. And so if your product or service has a direct tie to that, we don't make these long form commercials. As you saw today, this was not a Quantum Quill digital commercial. This was actual learning. So thanks, Kim.
I did
You can
forget one thing.
go for it. Final word.
Everybody should be leveraging their employees with this same thing, connecting the business with the employees' entities, and the employees should be building their own entities. When you're doing a job, if you're hunting for a job, you don't want to get hybridized with somebody else with a similar name. So it
I
really
don't,
does apply to just about everybody.
I don't want to be hybridized online or in person.
Now it's not fun.
No, it sounds terrible. Okay. Thanks, Kim, and thanks everyone for coming. We'll be here next
Yeah,
Tuesday at the
thanks
same time.
everybody.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
And I'll start.